Hello and welcome to the Famous Musicians Podcast. This is Season 5, Episode 7. This is a interview I did with Aaron Van Heyningen, who is a educator, a violin teacher, a freelancer. I'm putting this additional monologue before the episode starts because this is also the final episode of the Famous Musicians Podcast. And for the one person who will chance upon this video randomly and wonder what happened to the great empire of 12 people that watched the 100 or so videos I put out over 5 years, for the person wondering, what happened to the Roman Empire? Where did it go wrong? I will tell you the full story because I see no reason not to, being my own show. I was riding back seat in the car up to visit my wife's grandmother in Pennsylvania, and I was spending a lot of time in the car, and I was writing down things on a little scrap of paper, being like, what do I want to do with my life right now? I'm in my 30s. I want to do whatever I'd feel be most fulfilled, and I decided that the most important thing to me is to have opportunities to perform and opportunities to write and promote my music. So why the heck was I having a show where I just talk to musicians about music? What the heck does that have to do with recording rap songs or accompanying people or playing? The hope was that the podcast would focus on performance, but a podcast focused on performance is not the same thing as performing. And so I'm leaving this project to basically, with renewed vigor, hopefully after this COVID thing in 2021, just to go to every university, every library, every group muse thing, and join something which already exists for singing or for playing the piano or for rapping, because I'm a performer. I'm not an NPR guy who talks about music. And if you thought I was, thank you. I'm very flattered. But again, you are one of 12 people who may have seen these. And I look forward to everyone laughing at these things when I have viral success as one of the most successful rappers and accompanists for opera singers and organists and pianists ever, which I hope I will be once I stop spending all this time editing videos and just start doing what I was put on this earth to do, which is practice to do high-quality concerts. Thank you so much. Enjoy this following interview and also the last one I'm doing on this podcast. Thanks for 5 years of support. Let's have an official start. Okay. Welcome to the Famous Musicians Podcast. I am here with Aaron Van Heyningen, who's a violinist and educator. And if I am doing this correctly, this should be the 6th episode of the 5th season, where I'm trying to intersperse some of the other monologues of me talking into a microphone with other people, because I feel like that is important for a podcast to have some sort of a rapport with someone else that you sort of tune into as a listener, but also still keeping it topical, still talking about music. But to keep with the informality and the rapport idea, I wanted to just sort of have a topic and then sort of freely deviate and record it. And and that's the idea for this episode. So here with Aaron Van Heyningen, the suggestion from the audience, so to speak, was how are we making money during quarantine as freelance musicians, and then whether we deviate or not, we'll figure it out. But that's the setup. Okay. Good to see you.
Am I allowed to speak now? My
yes. Yeah.
Properly introduced, Joseph. Yes. I'm Joseph.
Whatever. It all works. Joseph, I don't have a doctorate.
I've never called you Joseph. I've known you 7 years. Joseph, it's great to be here.
Yeah, Joseph.
Great to be here, Joseph.
Joseph.
Wait, so we're talking about how to make a living during COVID.
Yeah, I mean, it basically really we can just talk about anything that you're comfortable talking about that you don't want out there. But if we wanted to give this some sort of a form, some sort of a launching point, we can start with that and then deviate.
I'm a horrible person for this topic because I've made a living all through COVID. I've been like super blessed.
Well, no, I mean, that's good though, right? Because for other individuals who might not have been, or who may have been counting on the generosity of family members per se, they do, who haven't done that may be listening to this and go, "Ooh, how'd you do it?" So,
yeah. Well, I mean, I think as any working musician, we have our finger in about 7,000 pots, right? I mean,
yeah,
our income streams, we got to have good tax guys, we hope. We hope.
yeah,
So having a bunch of different income streams means that, I mean, if you don't like one of them, COVID times or not, you simply let that one dry up and you're not out of an entire job, right? So I have had 4 or 5 regular paychecks. That's what I count on from month to month. All of them recently have been teaching. Very little performing, very much teaching, which in COVID times just means like I bought a microphone for my computer, I bought a webcam, and I've been sitting on Zoom meetings all day, every day, which is, I mean, nobody loves sitting in front of a screen yelling at kids all day long. It's more fun to yell at them in person.
absolutely.
Just to be very clear, I don't yell at my violin students. I do not.
In case that was not.
I don't think that's ever, maybe like once. Maybe once it's happened. 0 times. But, I mean, I sit in this room all day, every day, in front of my webcam and teach kids. And most of them are still taking lessons. I personally have been very lucky where I haven't lost a giant portion of lessons. Which means like my rent's been paid. The occasional takeout has been ordered.
Good for you.
And I'm really lucky, but that's not the case for so many of our colleagues. I mean, anybody who's been grinding away freelance performing has no work now, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just if you can't adapt to it, then but I will say that people have been pretty good at finding ways around it. Like, for instance, to give you an example. Oh, I can't say her name because this isn't good. I just an organist a friend of mine knows. No need for last names. No need for it's just a person who's an organist who is female. That's all I will say. I don't even need to say female. I don't even know why I said that. It's too much information. But
so male or female, we don't know.
Yes, male or female. It's completely ambiguous.
Doesn't
anyway,
matter.
This friend of mine who is a very, very gifted singer, does some Twitch streaming, whatever. He is now sort of a recording engineer of sorts because there isn't a demand for him at his job as a singer because they can't fit so many people up in the choir loft. Right? So this particular organist, allegedly, according to him, didn't see the need to adapt in any way. Like literally the smartphone that she uses to call people, whatever, $100 thing, from 1980, whatever the heck, she will just press record. She'll put it under the belly of her upright or her grand. You'll hear all the squeaks. You'll hear ambient noise of outside as she's just very clumsily and lackadaisically just going through the accompaniment of this particular hymn. And guess what? She's making exactly as much money as she was making before, and she found a way around. She's using her smartphone. Okay, technically she's adapting because she's using a smartphone, but she wasn't buying, hundreds of dollars worth of gear. And like there's situations like that where you think, well, I'm sure they're gonna no, if like just people using their cell phones, and so there's little miracles happening too. It's not all doom and gloom that so.
Does no one cares that like the quality is just her cell phone?
Allegedly, according to this friend of mine, he says that he's the only one who seems to notice. I think what happens sometimes, and I hope this is never true for myself, is that in certain jobs, people become so entrenched and are such a regular fixture that they basically can do no wrong, and that there's no one is keeping them on their A game or holding them accountable for the quality of the work that they're doing. And this particular organist has such a relationship with this church that basically if she farted into her smartphone, she would still collect the same paycheck. And I think that's cool. But at this point in my career, in my life, I have much too much pride to ever want that for myself. I want people to fire me the minute I start doing that.
And you know what? To her credit, she's making a living, and
Yes.
probably everyone that's listening is listening on the speaker on their iPhone.
Yep.
So like the quality going in is exactly the quality coming out.
Exactly.
And maybe, like if your speakers are a potato set up with speaker wires, your microphone can be a potato as well.
Yeah. Exactly.
God bless her making a living in COVID times.
Yeah, and there is something to be said too, that I think that one of the cool things is, I think this person's considerably older than myself, that when you've been doing things a certain way for a certain amount of time, however you do it, it becomes like, it's the way that you do things, and it becomes like trademark. Like that's the Michael Jordan way. This is the Michael Jackson way of approaching a vocal. Like, I think for better or worse, I would imagine she's sort of become this fixture. He or she has become this fixture in the church life, where like, even if she's putting in 20% of what she really should be doing, it's Maurice Duraflay's 20% or Beethoven's 20%. They're like, yeah, well, she did it. And it doesn't matter how good it is. It matters that she did it. Look, this is Rostropovich's poop.
Right, because that job is all about the relationship you have built with the staff at the church, and then the members of the congregation. They're like, we love he or she.
Yes.
There's no reason, like, we love the music that they have offered to our congregation for 20 years.
Whatever.
We're good.
Yeah. That's good.
This is a weird time. Thanks for the music.
Yeah, and it's so much is a function of relation and personality, and the older I get, the more that becomes important. I was talking to someone the other day about when I was younger, when I was finishing my undergrad. I remember thinking that if I ever became in charge of a certain organization, like a musical organization of sorts, sort of similar to this podcast, but I was thinking of an organization where I'd be employing people to just do large-scale works, cantatas, concertos, stuff like that.
Wait, I'm getting paid for this? I'm employed?
Well, we're going to get your horses up. But what would I want in a scenario like that? And I was, as a 21-year-old, I remember thinking, well, you know what? I wouldn't care if my star pianist had a sex scandal, or was a racist, or was homophobic, or routinely showed up late, or had a substance abuse problem, because I just want the best of the best. It shouldn't matter about these personal characteristics. That has nothing to do with music. I'm going to school for music. So clearly this is all just water under the bridge, whether I like the person or not. And the older I get, the more I'm like, it has so much more to do with contextual stuff. Like, is this person good? Do you enjoy hanging out with this person? And much less to just do with how good is this person in some abstract sense of by the laws of music or something.
Which is why we're friends, because I'm a terrible violinist, but I'm just like, I'm super charming.
It's just so charming.
Like, as long as I don't have to play violin for you, we can remain friends. Yeah.
You knocked that. I was talking to the singer I was coaching right before this, and he said, "Oh, who's Aaron Van Heyningen? Like, oh, you never talked about him before." I said, "Oh no, he's great. He's seen a whole facet of me." And I went on to talk about some stuff before my wedding, but we don't need to talk about. But I was mentioning how you were one of the two violinists that did Bach double at B's baptism, and so obviously that. I feel like that refutes the point, but maybe not. But but like, what would have asked you to play the Bach double if I thought you weren't it? But nothing's so cut and dry.
I did practice for that, That's
I
a
thought it was
testament.
fantastic.
Yeah, it was an honor to be there.
Appreciate it.
Although, I mean, I'm going to put it out there. You did just drop out of baby music class.
I did. I did.
So, I
I
mean,
bribed you by paying you what you were owed last semester.
no, no.
Bribed you into silence.
But that is, I think that class, despite the fact that you don't see the value in it because you have no taste in baby music class, I think that class really is like so. For the 12,000 listeners that we're going to have here,
Yeah, easily.
I mostly teach
Minimum.
violin lessons, and I also teach early childhood education classes.
Right.
So it's music class for 0 through 4-year-olds. And, I took some training for this just because it was offered and I happened to be free. It's like, when there's like a couple cookies on the counter and you're like, I'm not hungry, but like, there they are.
There they are. It's St.
Yeah,
David's.
so
There you go.
so I did that with some baby music class. I'm like, what the heck is a 1-year-old going to do in a music class? They just sit
Right.
there and like blow spit bubbles.
Right. What do you have to lose?
Which is true, but they also do interact with music and rhythm and why not offer them my mind was changed, right? Why not offer them a musical education from the very beginning?
Right.
So that, of course, all of those classes, we are not hanging out on a rug, shaking hands, giving baby high fives, because, they drool on stuff all the time. And I managed to offer, a bunch of my friends have toddlers, and I'm like, well, I'm sitting around on Tuesday mornings. How about we have the Mr. Aaron baby music hour? And we've got people tuning in from all over the whole the whole eastern seaboard. We've got babies showing up and doing baby stuff. Not Joseph's baby, she's too good for it. She's already playing Rachmaninoff on her little mini keyboard. She won't be joining us. But right, I mean, finding interesting ways to offer music in whatever the new Zoom world is, I think, is what we've all had to do, right?
Right. Right. In some way, still give content, give quality through this medium.
I saw your brother on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
He was like streaming a violin. I didn't watch the whole thing, but like it started.
Yeah.
And he was playing violin, some Bach I heard. He had one of his own pieces. I kind of zoomed through to check it out. And one of the things that he did say, I think he said, art is for everyone.
Yeah.
Which is like, I guess not everybody agrees with that, but I've just been like kind of hanging out with that. It's not an original sentence. It's not an original thought, but like he said it and I was like, all right, let's stew on that for a little while. And I think COVID times really have, there's been just tons of creativity. Of course, creative people find creative ways to create, right?
Yeah.
And really make it so that we can make our art for everyone. I mean, not your kid who's not coming to our baby music class. Again, let's make it very clear that she will not be in attendance, although she is invited, because it's for everyone.
Okay. even your
child.
snotty little. Who built a statue to honor a critic, Beatrice? So no, I think there's absolutely something to be said for that, and democratization, saying art is not just a privilege of the wealthy or something like that. No, it's a natural thing. The only thing I could think of that's sort of similar was there was a friend of mine. It was actually the same friend of mine that I will not say who it is because then that would establish who the organist was I was talking about. But the same friend, he had said something to me at one point, which I have been living with and mulling over, and I'm still chewing over it right now. And it's everyone is an artist. I always think about that because I think about like problems in a white collar bank, whatever, like corporate jobs and meter maids, janitors, and people who aren't professional musicians or whatever. And I think about some of the problems they have, and a lot of them, I think, so much of it can end up stemming from the lack of having the ability to having an output, a creative output, a way for them to express themselves and bring something into the world which is specific that they were thinking of. And one of the benefits, it's obviously it's unstable and there's no guarantee and there's no Roth IRA that you're automatically paying into by being a musician. It's just all these different streams of income and you're just kind of playing the lottery. But one of the great things about it is that you have this, you have a creative outlet. You have that available to you with your daily bread as you're earning it. It's a twofold thing. You can do both at the same time. And finding ways for people in other professions to have that, I think I know it's like Freudian, like all the problems in the world is like no one loves his mother, but I feel like that sometimes I feel like that about other people. Like a lot of the problems in the world, it's like if everyone just had an ability to feel like they're going to be a successful SoundCloud rapper, maybe a lot of the toxic Twitter that a senator has, if he was also a rapper, he might not be saying that or supporting that or whatever. Like,
Are you saying that Mitch McConnell has a SoundCloud rap career?
But just think about that. Like if everyone had, let's see, like focus for the YouTubes, please focus. No, okay, great. Oh yeah, here you go.
There we are. Well, this is going on YouTube too.
If you don't want it, it can be just audio. It's whatever you want. It's whatever you want.
I mean, I would have gone topless if I had known the video was going to be in the hall.
Yeah, but I mean, exactly, it's at your behest. So if you don't,
totally, whatever.
Okay.
Wait,
whatever.
There isn't anything in my background that is like.
I'm wearing a Biggie Smalls t-shirt. I mean, honestly, I think I'm more suspect than you.
Well, I would like you to notice then how successful I have been during coronavirus times.
Looking at
the wine fridge for you on YouTube. That is
that's a wine fridge.
It's a wine fridge.
Nice.
That has been purchased during coronavirus times. That is how rich I am.
No, it's amazing.
Actually, we just had a little one. This is so boring. We had a little one, and when we moved here, we had to move during coronavirus times because my wife and I lived in a very small studio, a very large studio apartment, also known as a small room.
Right.
Which was like super awesome when we were both just going to work, and all my noise was at music schools, and all her noise was at her job, and then how many times could you listen to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? And your husband's same stupid jokes, because there were 2 doors in the apartment.
Yeah.
One door to get to the hallway and then one door to the bathroom, but not one between Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and my wife.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we moved here and we had like a college dorm fridge size wine thing that they dropped and broke.
Right.
And then we upgraded. So there it is.
That's awesome. I thought it was audio equipment.
It's pretty serious around here. It's pretty serious around here.
You just had racks upon racks of outboard compressors. Yes. I bought a new audio interface, but I also have a $7,000 Phil Spector.
That's right. I have $20,000 in audio equipment, but the interface I'm using for my laptop cost $109. So,
well, what was it? They were talking about that with because I watch this stuff because making rap beats professionally. I care about this niche stuff. But there's a guy. What the hell is his name? Kenny Beats. But obviously that's just his artist name. It's not his
his
name.
Parents named him that.
Right.
They knew.
So, but he was talking about how when you're trying to audition your beats for a studio, whether they're going to keep you on a retainer as a producer, they'll have this enormous studio setup. But what they'll do is they'll take the crappiest speaker they have and they'll play your beats through it because they're trying to say, if your beats need to sound good on this.
Yeah.
Because if it sounds good on that, everything sounds good on that.
I mean, that's going to get you a church organist job too.
Right.
You can sound good with an iPhone stashed in your grand piano.
That's how you know you're the separate
That's
member
right.
voice. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Isn't that fun? Oh man, I have so many inappropriate stories that I can't tell you.
We're not doing that. We're not naming and shaming. We're positive.
Yeah, we're super positive here.
Always positive.
So you had mentioned to me, you were teaching a lesson at 3, right?
That is correct.
I'm making sure whatever happens, we're definitely getting off this call at 2:50, so you have time to get a extra espresso.
Nah, 257 is good. 257 is good.
You're a generous person.
All I do is stare at Zoom meetings all day. Like that Zoom muscle is flexed.
Fair.
So I'll be doing this, but like the person on the other side will be 7
Right.
with a violin in their hands.
This is season 7, episode 1. I am 7. I do not know how to play the violin. Thank you for tuning in.
Oh, that would be no, you're a great violist.
Yes.
I love Joe, let me tell you, I love the 3 times that we've gotten to play stringed instruments together.
Yes.
The absolute just beauty of musicianship that oozes through your viola with almost zero technical know-how.
No, I have no idea.
Like it is, yeah, but through that, because this comes back to like art is for everyone. We create because we must create. You're not good at the viola.
Oh, not at all.
You're not trying to be. But it's fun. And that like those musicianship muscles flex through the viola despite the fact that you have severe technical deficiencies.
Oh, incredible. Yeah. No, I mean, there's nothing, positions, anything. Like I know where the notes should be, but I have no hand positions or anything to back it up at all.
And then the music still comes through with like sort of dignity and grace, which I think is incredible.
That's a very high compliment. And actually, it's one of those things where it's like I needed it. I needed the fact that I'm so terrible at the viola to make that compliment be as effective as it is. It's like that compliment only is as cool as it is if it's juxtaposed with how terrible I am. So I have to be terrible for that to be as awesome as a compliment as it is, which I'm taking.
Have you been practicing the viola? Like,
oh no, I'm if anything, I'm probably worse.
I mean,
well, I might be better just because I'm so bad that now by random chance I've somehow become better. It's just like, you press the wrong buttons on the controller and you find yourself in the middle of the game and like it's not debugged.
You don't know how you made it, but you made it.
Somehow it's somewhat better. Yeah. What was it? Oh, I wanted to tell you this because it has nothing to do with anything, but I was taking. So I'm videotaping coachings with singers, and that's sort of my gimmick now, which I'm saying like I'll run through rep with you, but look at this. If you do a good take, not only do you have this, but you have some good audio and video you can show people. And so I haven't raised my hourly rate, but hopefully I will. And they'll say like, $50 if you go to Joe Blow, but $60 if you go here, because look, he's just throwing in this video you can just use. Anyway, I kept having these problems with lighting because I was like, it never seems bright enough. Oh, it seems so dark. Oh, I don't know if you've encountered this, but I hit this point of enlightenment today at about 1:30. And what I realized is behind the camera, whether it's a webcam, whatever, it needs to be bright as all get out. It needs to be like, yeah. And then in front of the camera, it's got to be dark so that you're the only point of focus. And that the best kind of light is the light which is super bright, which is sort of coming from behind the camera. I didn't know this, but then because I've had all these cameras and like they all look crappy. Why is that possible? Blew my mind.
You can also set yourself in front of a window. Like if you're facing out the window, if it's sunny outside, that's helpful and free.
Right, because you have the point of light, but it needs to be behind,
and it's got to be like big. Big is better.
Yeah,
it'll soften your features a little bit. Which we all kind of want, I think.
Right, but it just felt so counterintuitive because I have these 2 big bay windows that in my spacious Freeport mansion, and
yes.
and I always had these sort of gauzy sheer curtains because I thought I want more natural light. But it was always screwing things up and making the camera dim because they were trying to compensate for the fact that there was so much ambient light. So actually what made everything brighter was just putting these blackout curtains. Having less light actually gave me more light.
Right.
So zen.
Wait a minute. Is that less light gives you more light? That's right in there with still creating during coronavirus times.
Right.
You did that on purpose. You came full circle, Joseph.
It's just like philosophy.
Because people are going to create.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Well, they said that with Shakespeare, there was some plague. I forgot what happened. I'm not good at history, but there was some kind of plague that happened during Shakespeare's time, and no one could go out, and that was when Shakespeare wrote, like, I should look this up before I say it. It was like Hamlet or Macbeth or whatever. Well, one of these big ones, he wrote it when there was was it the bubonic plague? I don't know. It was a plague. Some type of plague was going on. And like, can't go outside. And he's like, cool, I'll write Macbeth.
So we've all of us musicians have been locked down since March. We're on 11 months of it, right? It's February now.
Yep.
10 and a half months of here we are. Where's your concept album? Like, you should have an album released by now. If you're just hanging out waiting for your album to be written, you should have one. You've had 11 months.
Well, so I feel like I can talk about this. I do have a pseudonym, but I will keep this in. But what I will say is there's explicit language. I am a rapper, by the way, in case you couldn't put this together. If you're someone who's just listening to this podcast and you don't know about me and any other thing I do, but warning, parental advisory. But what I have done is I've been trying to do I've been sprinting instead of running. What I've tried to kind of do is release a song a week.
Wow.
And I haven't really done that, but it was like once every 2 weeks or whatever. But the point was, I've completely abandoned any sense of a large scale group, because what I'm hoping is that if I just keep shooting singles out and it keeps going into the Spotify machine, that at some point, some rando, all my songs sound very random, but one of them will end up finding its way onto a Spotify playlist. So if I just keep releasing these singles that no one's listening to, it's somehow by chance, like winning the lottery. So I'm just going to be like, what the heck is some ship about Boston? Some film about Boston. That's my new pseudonym. Some film about Boston. It's like, what's some film about Boston? What's this song? Whatever. And it'll find its way into a list, and that will. So, but any one of these songs could be my ticket. Now, of course, I obviously have to write good songs, whatever good means in the realm of composition. But I'm kind of throwing things against the wall and seeing if they stick with the rap stuff, and just kind of figuring out a way to just sort of. I'm not. There's no like, this is going to be the single. There's no like, what's your target demographic? It's very much just been like, this is something that's cool. I made this week. Listen to it. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Don't tell me if you don't like it.
You can't catch a fish if your line's not in the water.
Exactly.
And you're putting 10,000 lines in the water.
That's kind of the idea. Is like I feel like that's part of the idea of the promotional, is that, if I want to make money selling music, I should probably have some music to sell. So right. I'm just making some muffins and then selling them.
Wait, you're doing muffins too? That's how you're diversifying?
Muffins is my analogy, but
it's just your rap pseudonym? New pseudonym?
Making some muffins.
Making some muffins with a Z. With a Z at the end. I like that.
So yeah, I shouldn't be talking about myself. We're talking, but yeah, but the whole thing was basically, for me right now, it's just sort of like, what's the model so that I can just churn out all this material at a certain baseline level of like, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
So that I can just have what's maximum output. So there's no inner critic. It's just like, here's a hook. Here's 3 verses. Here's some samples. Here's a beat. It's mastered. Go.
Done.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
You gotta put it out there.
Yeah. Any concluding thoughts you have, since I know it is literally now 2:57?
It's time we got to rock and roll. No, yeah. It's great to see you on this Zoom meeting.
Likewise.
Sorry, your daughter's too good for our baby music class. However, if you have an infant between the ages of 0 and 4, and you're listening to this podcast, you should join our baby music class.
Great. Yeah, use it as a platform for this.
See, look at that. I just plugged myself. This is the business that is show.
Do I do anything? Do I put a link up in this when I put this on YouTube in the podcast thing?
Is there a link to contact you? Because I'm not good at this promotion stuff.
Oh, should I put up, do you have an email address which is specifically for parents that want to?
No, it's It's all mine. You know
wait,
what? If you
what?
find me, Google my name and find me.
Done.
And that's the test you have to pass to get into this very exclusive class that even Joseph Martin's daughter got kicked out of.
It was just not good enough.
She was not good enough, so we kicked her out. I tried to start this episode off by saying that but I kicked her out. I broke up with her.
Do you have a personal website? So they'll just Google you? They'll just Google you.
Just Google me. Aaron Van Heyningen. Google it.
Done. SEO.
Cool,
All right,
man.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Great to see you.
Likewise. All right,
God
peace.
bless.
Goodbye.